I'm going to take this assembly we've already got built now with the 2 springs on the shock absorbers, and what I'm going to do is we've got to carefully place this onto the chassis, and before I do it, these 2 holes here, that's where your shock absorbers are going to go. You should, hopefully, he says, be able to turn it without any problems. Now, as you can see, the arms have come out there, so just carefully push them, tuck them back under for now, and just make sure your shock absorbers are lined up with the chassis. So you want to rest on your desk, putting these arms in, you can just see them there. So if you just see there, what I'd do is just prise a little screwdriver or something, probably about this size, just behind, just to hold them as you screw the screws in, the usual stuff. And if there were, guys, I would let you know what to look out for. But basically both stabilisers now are fitted, these 2 here, with PS25 screws.
Hey all, welcome back to the channel, Rich43. Hope you're all doing good, guys. Hope you're all well. Today I'm doing more of the DB5 and we're at issue 35. Here's the parts. As you guys know, there's no mag for this, it's all internet based, so you have to go on the Aurora website, which I will put a link in the description down below to get your instructions, guys, to do this build. Hence why I've got no magazine to show you at this stage. If you're not already, guys, remember to subscribe, like, also comment and share, press that bell notification. You'll always be notified every time I put the db5 from the Gordon models up on the channel. Now, I'm not going to hang about, guys, with this. Trust me, I've had a quick browse through the instructions. There's around 36, 37 instructions. That's the biggest issue I've had of this build so far. So I'm going to crack on, guys. So sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's crack on with the db5 from Gordon models.
Okay then, guys, so here we have this week's pack, and it's issue 35. So let's get this open and see what we've got. Right, get comfy, guys, brace yourself. We've got a big issue this week. Without looking into the instructions, I think there's around 36, 37 instructions today. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty big video, long video, so I'm not going to hang about. Right, so here's all our parts. We've got some PS14 screws, and also we've got PS11 screws, and we've got loads of goodies here, guys. Let's just get some order here in a minute. Right, first of all, we've got this big thing. Now these are plastic, it's a hard plastic, but these are plastic, guys. 35A, that's the drive shaft. So put these to one side as I'm going through what we've got. And then we've got the 35B and C, which are these 2 pieces here. And these are the rear transverse stabilizer bars, the left and the right one. Then we've got this little thing here. This is the 35D, and this is the right stabilizer. And then somewhere around here we've got the left stabilizer. Where's that gone? That's the right 35D. That's the connection. That's the stabilizer bar connection. And then we've got 35E and F. To these 2 pieces here, guys, you've got like a little right angle, just off the right angle piece sticking out. And these are the right and the left stabilizer. It's a lot of pieces, as well as you would think with a lot of instructions. So these are PS25 screws, and then we have some springs here. So this is 35A, and there's 2 springs in that pack there, as you can see. And then finally but not lastly, guys, we have got 35G, which is this, and all these are plastic apart from those springs. 35G, which is the left stabilizer bar holder. So I'm watching, I'm saying these guys because I don't want to get it wrong for you. And then we've got 35H, which is that piece there, and that is the right stabilizer bar holder. So there's the parts. That's what we've got. So without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, get your favourite beverage or snack. Let's crack on. Okay then, guys, so for instruction 1 and 2, we've got to take the springs at the packet, and we're going to be attaching these springs to the rear left and right shock absorbers. Right, so these are usually tangled up like this when they come out in a pack, so let's just get, this is a task in itself, guys. Hang on, let me just try and get this off. There we go. So if you've got your 2 springs here, and there's not a certain way to put these on, they're both the same each side of the spring. So all you got to do is pop those over the shock absorbers, the left and right one, and that is instruction 1 and 2 all done. So let's move on to instruction 3. So for instructions 3 and 4, we're going to take this assembly we've already got built now with the 2 springs on the shock absorbers, and what we're going to do is we've got to carefully place this onto the chassis, and for these 2 holes here, that's where your shock absorbers are going to go. And just make sure you've got the arms, these arms lifted up, because you're going to be putting those somewhere in a minute. So if you just guide the shock absorbers into those holes, that's instruction 3 done. And then instruction 4, it's saying guide these arms into the holes what are on the chassis here. So just lean those forward a bit, and they should just slot in there like that. And that's why, guys, in a few videos back, you have to make sure, let me show you this one, this arm that was on the right way. I should have been having problems now getting them into the holes in the chassis. So that's those done. And then again on this side. And that is instructions 3 and 4 all done. Let's crack on and move on. Guys, so instruction 5, it's an instruction in itself. We're going to now turn this assembly over. So if you hold it like that, you should hopefully, he says, be able to turn it without any problems. Now, as you can see, the arms have come out there, so just carefully push them, tuck them back under for now, and just make sure your shock absorbers are lined up with the chassis. So you want to rest it on your desk like so, and then as you can see, when you push the chassis down like that, you are then going to be able to put the 2 screws, which are PS11 screws, into the shock absorbers. So instruction 5 was turn the chassis over, instruction 6 was lining the shock absorbers up like so, and now instruction 7, we've got to apply a PS11 screw into one of the shock absorbers. So let me get my screwdriver and get one of these screws. And let's put it in the shock absorber first. It's going to be very fiddly until you've got it connected, and then you should be alright, guys. So once you've got these in, it shouldn't be so difficult. But line the shock absorber up, as I say, like that. And don't be shy to put a bit of pressure onto the chassis, and what that'll do, it'll push the springs down, so then you can get this screw, PS11 screw, in to the top of the shock absorber. Now these are screwed into plastic, guys, so you shouldn't find it too hard to get these in, and that should, yep, hold the chassis like so. And that is instruction 7 all done. And then what we've got to do, we've got to repeat the steps for the shock absorber on here and apply another PS11 screw, which I've just got here at the top, your bottom of the screen, yeah, be at the bottom of the screen. So again, don't be scared to push the chassis over the shock absorber and then screw this PS11 screw into the top of the shock absorber. And because you're going into plastic, it shouldn't be too tough to do this bit, guys. There you go. And that's those two shock absorbers now. Hopefully they're forever. Just going to make sure I tighten those up. Yeah, and that is instructions all the way up to 8 done. Now what we're going to do, we're going to flip the chassis back over. Let's just move these screws out of the way a sec. But now it should be a lot easier, guys, because it's connected. It shouldn't be all falling about. Just be careful of your steering mechanism at the front. As you flip it over, you don't damage anything. So just line those arms up into the corresponding holes. What you might want to do is get your tweezers if you can't get your hands in there. There you go. I think that's gone in. There we go, that's in. And it is a pretty tight fit. There you go, so you know they're not going to be moving about them. And that is then all the way up to instruction 9 done. We've got our arms into the 4 holes, 2 on each side, which are ringed on the instructions there, guys. So if I just scroll down to instruction 10, yeah, that's instruction 10. Also, with lining the arms up on both sides of the chassis, and then we go straight to instruction 11, and we need another PS11 screw, and you've got it. What we're going to be doing now is attaching these arms with PS11 screws. I'm just scrolling down, that's instruction 11. Yeah, that's instruction 11, 12. Yeah, so 11 and 12 are basically about attaching these arms. So just bear with me if you can't see a lot at the minute, guys. What I'm going to do is turn it over, and I might be able to screw them in better. So yeah, I'm going to screw these. That's why they tell you to turn it over, guys. That's a little tip there from me then. You've got to have it this side. Let me just get that steering back. You can't do it another way because you're going to have to put your finger behind the arms to have the pressure of putting the screw in. And these are plastic, just be careful not to snap them as you're screwing into them. But let me just show you. That's where the screws are going in, guys. So you've got 1, 2. If I just turn the chassis over, 3, 4 there to put all your arms in. So I'm going to screw them in, and then we'll crack on with instruction 14. Just be careful as you're putting the chassis down, guys. If you've allowed them to drop out, you don't want to be damaging anything. So let me try and do this way then. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, I think. And get these screwed in. Okay, that was a bit fiddly, I will not lie to you. Little tip though, guys, when you're putting these arms in, you can just see them there. So if you just see there, what I'd do is just prise a little screwdriver or something, probably about this size, just behind, just to hold them as you screw the screws in from the other side just there. And the same on the other side also, because if not, you've got a risk of not screwing them in properly, and then they're not in properly, if that makes sense. So if you just prise them just in that little crevice there with a screwdriver, pushing them into the hole, and then put your screws, you shouldn't have any problems. And as you can see now, guys, let's have a little test. There you go. The suspension now works. Look at that. Love it. See? So yeah, that's all the way to, let me just look, instruction 13 done. Now we've got to turn the chassis over. And if I just put that about, let me just move some of these things out of the way, guys. Put that about there, you should be able to see what I'm doing next. So what we're going to do is get the drive shaft, which is 35A, this part here. And what we're going to do, guys, is place this. Let me just move this cloth out of the way for the Gora models. I love that little cloth. Now what we're going to do, if you look, this doesn't really turn. It's like a fake drive shaft basically. So what it's telling us to do is put these little raised bits in the holes. Now I would have thought it'll only go one way. That's how I think it's going to go, like that. And at the end of instruction 14, that's how that looks. The drive shaft is now fitted. So let's move on to instruction 15. Yeah, you've guessed it. Now for instruction 15, what it's tends to do is fit the drive shaft through the opening. Yeah, instruction 15 is all about putting the drive shaft in. Now you'll know if you've got it the right way around, guys, because if you turn the chassis over, you can then see that it actually goes in underneath to the drive shaft at the back. Just let me double check, we need some PS25 screws also. Yes, so that's right, into the differential bit there. You can see it fits. Now if that was the other way around, it won't reach, and it obviously won't reach into the differential. So what we need to do now is get two PS25 screws. I've got to get a pill box for these like I've got for the Millennium Falcon. I have got these screws everywhere, guys. So just getting two screws out. And I do usually give you one spare of these, but we've got many of these, as you can see. So what you want to do is get these PS25 screws. This is instruction 16, by the way. Hold the drive shaft just underneath and get these screws put in. Now you're screwing into plastic, guys, so you shouldn't have any issues screwing these in. And they've gone in like butter. Knife through butter. Love it. I do love this build, guys. I mean, there's a lot of instructions in this week's issue, which just seems so far, dare I say, it was just flowing along nicely. And that's what you want with builds. Before you tighten these up though, make sure you've got your differential in, your drive shaft, sorry, into the differential. And then make sure those are nice and tight. And that is the end of instruction 16. And now we've got to turn the chassis over again. Or have we? Now, let me check before I do that. No, I think we're good. Let me just tighten these up a bit more. Now we can keep it this way. All I'm going to do is just turn it round. So I've got the better view for you guys. Now what we're going to do now is take 35E and 35F, which are these two parts. Now these are plastic, guys, just do be careful with these parts because these are very flimsy. We don't want to breaking them. Now apparently on the instructions, yeah, yes, it's got an R for the right and an L obviously for the left. So as you're looking at the chassis, what we want to do is get the right one first, and this has got to go. You can see there, guys, you've got two holes and one hole in the middle. That's going to be for your screw. I'm just looking as I'm reading. I think that is how that's going to be attached, like that. That looks good to me. And then if you get the other one, the left one, these little things sticking up need to go towards your discs, and you'll know you're doing right then. And I think that's all we've got to do for instruction 17. It's about attaching them. Yeah, 18 is just saying what I've just said to you. Make sure these little arms are pointing towards the bottom end of the shock absorbers, like so. That's how that's going to look. They're not going to be connected. Can't see any screws going to go in there or anything. They're just going to be resting on there, basically. And that's all the way to instruction 18. See, there's a lot of instructions, but a lot of them are doubling on their self because we're doing each side, so it's not as bad as it seems, to be fair. And now for instruction 19 and 20, we're going to be attaching these with some PS25 screws. So yeah, we need two PS25 screws and basically screw these into the chassis. And after that then, we're going to be all the way up to instruction 22 by the time we put these two pieces in. So you want two of these PS25 screws. And you guessed it, I'm going to have to turn the chassis over again, or I might turn it on its side, see which is easier. So let's get these put in. Bear with me guys if you can't see exactly what I'm doing. Well, yeah, that's getting pretty easy because we're screwing into plastic. So that's that one done. If I just swing the chassis around, you can see that's that one done there. The steering column, you might be beneficial to tape that up somewhere guys, because it does flap about a lot. And then again, take a PS25 screw and do the same with this side. Screw that in nice and tight. And that is those two all done. And that's how those are looking. So let's move on to instruction 22. Okay, so instruction 22 guys, I'm going to take a look at these two transverse stabilizer bars, 35B and 35C. One has a large hole on this side. I think you can get that out on camera. So if I just separate these a sec. That one's the smaller one and that one's the bigger one. So you need to keep that in mind. So just place those on the desk a sec. And I'm going to scroll through to the next instruction. And instruction 23 and 24 is take the bar with the smaller hole, which is this one here. And then what we're going to do is align this right stabilizer bar holder 35H. So it's telling us basically to put that in there like that. So how it's looking on the images guys, if I just turn that around, that's how it should be looking if you've got it right. So you're looking at that, it's going to be looking this to the bottom and then this bar on the top. And that is all the way up to instruction 24. And now for instruction 26 and 25, so 25 and 26, we've now got to attach that with a PS25 screw. So I'll just get hold of one of them and get that attached. So yeah, just screw those together. Oops, let's get that back on. Yeah, this week's issue, guys, was giving me a bit of palpitations, how busy it looks, but I was excited at the same time. But I think it's going pretty well so far. Not too stressed about it. I don't get stressed, but you know what I mean. You think, oh God, that's a big issue. Right, so that's how that's looking. Be careful with these guys if you move them about. I mean, it's just telling us to screw that. It's not doing it loose, so I've done that pretty tight to be fair, but there's not much play in that. It will move because it's plastic, it'll bed in eventually. But that was 25. Now instruction 26, it says to take the other arm, which we've got here, and then we've got to attach this little piece stabilizer bar holder 35G. So we just need those two pieces. That's instruction 26 done. We're flying through these guys, because like I say, some of them are just telling you what to do and the instructions over. Now instruction 27, if you're looking at the two pieces like that, what you want to do is make sure that little pin is sticking outwards, and that's how that's got to look. It's got to look like that. And again, we've got to attach that with a PS25 screw. So we'll just get those out. Just be careful, like I say, because these are plastic and they could snap very easy if you don't hold them in the right place. Yeah, but we've got those, if you want to call them dreaded wheels, coming next week, guys. But I'm going to try to do some bumper issues, I think, and just get those wheels done. So that's how that's looking at the end of instruction 28. And now for 29, let's just move these PS. I'm going to move those over because I would have thought we're going to use them again in a minute. What we need to do is get this little connector we've got here And what you want to do is get that raised bit lifted up in the air. So we'll put that on the desk like so. And then it's going to be basically all about, if you get those lifted up off the table like that, you're doing right. And what you've got to look at, remember what we said, we've got a small and a bigger hole. So if you look at the pins here, one's a bigger pin, one's a smaller pin. So just put the smaller one onto the one with the smaller holes on the arm, and you just got to basically push that over there, which is probably going to be a bit tricky. Just careful not to snap anything as you're doing it. There you go. That's how that looks, guys. And the same on the other side. Just take your time because it is plastic. You don't want to snap it. There you go. That's how that looks. And you'll know if you got it right because these pieces will be sticking up like that as looking at them. That's all that done. So that's instruction 29 done. Let's move on. Instruction 30 already. Oh, and that is instruction 30 that was fitted on. See what I mean? We're flying through these instructions, guys. So instructions 30 is done. Now for 31 and 32, we need to bring the car back over. So if I just carefully pull it over, like so. And then what we're going to do, see where it could get a bit fiddly now. That's the way you want it, like that. And then these have got to move, which they do move, okay, but just be careful not to snap anything. And just see if we got this the right way around. Hang on. There we go. So, by the looks of it, I think those have got to go. Let me just try it. I'll soon tell you. I think they're that way around, to be fair. Yeah, so that goes in like that. So they're looking like that. So that's taking us all the way through 31, 32. I'm going to scroll through as I'm talking to you guys. And 33 and 34, it's basically putting PS25 screws in each side of there, in the left and the right stabilizer shape fitted. So these are put in. Now we've got to put some PS25 screws in. So yeah, guys, there was nothing awkward about that really. It was just usual stuff. And if there were, guys, I would let you know what to look out for. But basically, both stabilizers now are fitted. These two here with PS25 screws. And now we've done that, what it says to do in instruction 36 is connect this part here to the differential cover using the shape fitted. So I think that's just got to basically go over the differential piece sticking out. And then I think we're going to have to screw that in there. So let me just scroll down to the next instruction. Yeah, I thought so. Now we're going to have to use a PS14 screw to attach that to the differential. So I'll just cut some off this here to get the screw. Yeah, I do forward through sometimes, guys, or cut out just screwing because obviously it's a bit tedious if you're just watching me screwing and you can't see the picture very good because it's awkward. But if there is any issues with that part, that instruction, you know me, guys, I do let you know and what to look out for and give you any tips. There you go, that's nice and tight there, and that's how that's looking. Look at that, guys, love that. Look at the back end of that. That's how that's looking. It looks very, it's popping. Let me just put it that way. I do love that. So that was instruction 37. Little PS14 screw to attach that to the differential. And guys, that is it. We've got through this massive week, this massive issue of 37 instructions. I've got screws everywhere, but the parts are all done. Stay tuned to the end, guys, and I'll give you a glorious shot of everything done today. That was a brilliant issue. I enjoyed that. I really did. Come back for more next time for more wheels next week, guys. We'll warn you. I can show you now. This is what's coming next week. in issue 36 and 37, and I think I'm going to do both of them parts next week. Maybe another one, I might do a triple whammy, let's see. But yeah, it's coming next week, guys, so come back for more. Take care, see you soon, see ya. And that is it for this week's build of the db5. Looming around the corner, guys, next week's video, it's more wheels. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I think I've got two builds of the wheels. I think I've got the normal and the hard build of the wheel, if that makes sense. If you've been watching this build, you know what I mean. And then we've got the easy. What I might do is do a double issue, so I'll do the easy and the hard build and fast time lapse some of it, so because we've seen it all before, guys, and get these wheels up and built. If you're not regular to the channel, or you are regular to the channel, should I say, as well, you guys know I'm going to go for the hard wheels on this build. At first it was the easy, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to go for the hard wheels, guys, but I'm going to build every wheel I've got coming through, so you guys can see either or what you're going to choose if you're watching and coming along with this build. So you'll see how to do the easy wheel and the hard wheel. But as I say, it is documented in my videos a couple of weeks, months back maybe, when I last did the wheels. So if you want to check out the full video of doing these wheels and into detail, check them out. But as they come up and come along to the channel now, I might, as I say, time lapse a lot of it, because we obviously know what's involved with doing the spokes and putting these wheels together. But again, if you want to watch the wheels being built on my channel, go back down the playlist, guys, into the db5 playlist, a few videos back, and you can watch what's entailed in building these wheels. And trust me, you need a bit of time to do it. It might be down to about 20 minutes, maybe half hour on this video, on the videos I do. Trust me, it takes longer than half hour. You're probably talking an hour, hour and a half, depending how slow you are with your hands. But I do advise you to get some magnifying glasses, even if you've got brilliant eyesight, because there's a lot of straining and there's a lot of little holes you've got to put spokes into. But that's going to be next week, guys. Wheels coming around the corner. Whew, dare I say it. But yeah, this has been a really long video this week. 37 instructions, if I remember right. So I'm going to leave it here, guys. It's been a long one. Thanks if you got to the end of the video. Remember to give us a big like at the end of it if you have got this far. Hopefully you have if you're watching this. And give us a big like, guys. Subscribe for more, press that bell notification. You'll always be notified every time I put the db5 up or anything else on the channel. But for now, that is it. Take care. See you soon. Peace.